and there was so many gangs. And then I remember when I was like 13, 14, I was on a bus with my brother, and a guy tried to rob my chain.
Jeremiah Kenny, nice to have you here, man.
Nice for having me, thank you.
No problem, no problem. So let's get straight into it. So you've got a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Talk about it. What are the projects? What are you thinking?
Okay, so currently, as I said, I'm currently recording a video for one of my poems called Imagine If / Repetition. So that's ongoing. So that's a poem that's a complete poem. Besides that, I've got a street life story. It's about a guy called Simon. So we talk about Simon, how he turns from being a good regular kid and then he gets involved with the road life. And then we've got a letter to my son, which is basically Simon's mum talking to Simon, or writing a letter to Simon, talking about how she can see him changing and how she's trying to explain to him that the path that it's going down is not the right path and stuff like that. So things in both poems, they correlate. Certain things I mentioned in Simon's story, Simon's mum picks up on and say it, and tries to remind him. Like certain things that are in there is quite cool. It's quite cool.
What inspired that sort of perspective?
It's, I don't know, because most of the poems that I write, I talk about the street life, like from a different kind of view. I don't really tell a story. Well, in certain aspects, I'll tell a story, but I wanted to tell a story about a particular guy, and we can see his journey. So maybe I wouldn't say myself, but I don't know how the ending is gonna be, because I haven't finished the ending. Hopefully, I can try and mirror my kind of life to try and inspire other people that, okay, you can be on the roads and you can come out. And like, there's a lot of people, not just myself, that have been on the roads. They've gone through hardships. They've done things that they didn't want to do. They've got in trouble with the law, and then there is light at the end of the tunnel. Basically, that's what I want to try and do. I think I'll say my life inspired that. To be honest, cool. Yeah.
With that, talk about your background.
So when I was younger, I'll say obviously I grew up in Peckham. Aylesbury Estate.
Old Peckham, not New Peckham.
Old Peckham. old. I would even say Peckham, to be fair, but Peckham is such a big area, but it's like not Peckham, but it was like Aylesbury Estate near East Street Market. Okay. So I grew up around there and in Aylesbury Estate. So before they knocked off all the connectors, so you could walk from one side of like Elephant and Castle all the way to my area.
Oh wow.
Take the steps and then you just go to Peckham or walk down to Burgess Park, basically. So I grew up there, so I saw a lot of crazy things. And I was like, when I was like 9, 10, you'd see people fighting, people being robbed. So from a young age, I was exposed to stuff like that. But it didn't turn me. I was always like, didn't want to do what those guys were doing.
Yeah, but that's just what you're witnessing.
Yeah, I was witnessing, so it became normal to me. Do you know what I mean? And then like, you'd have the older guys as well who are older than you. They'll be hanging around your house, in front of your house. Not in my house, my dad will never have that. But in front of your house, and then you see you're exposed to all these things. So growing up there, I was exposed to all these things. So my parents thought, you know what, let's move to Croydon. Maybe Croydon will be a better area. But I think everybody else was thinking that. So a lot of people
moved to Croydon.
So a lot of people from Brixton and moved to Croydon. So I think Croydon was just as bad, if not worse, because
you just moved the problem. You haven't actually solved it.
Precisely. So it's like you have a lot of guys from those areas coming to Croydon thinking that they want to be the top man. And then Croydon was just as bad because there was so many gangs. At least in Peckham, there was only like one gang, Peckham boys. That's what it really was. But whereas in Croydon, there was so many gangs. And then I remember when I was like 13, 14, I was on a bus with my brother and a guy tried to rob my chain.
Oh,
you know, the funny thing is that I was just, okay, take my chain. I didn't want it.
It wasn't a big thing for me.
It wasn't a big deal for me. I wasn't on it, but my brother was not having it. It was like, no, they can't take my chain. They can't take your chain, bro. But long story short, they ended up taking my phone, innit? So they took my phone.
I mean, you got the chain and the phone, to be honest.
You know, but to be fair, my chain, like, obviously my mum gave it to me and it cost much more than the phone anyway. So I was like, you know what? Take my chain. And then I think after that day, I just thought, you know what? That's never happened to me again. Yeah. That's never, ever going to happen to me again. So coming from that, just my friends started rolling with, they were my friends, but she turned into a gang, started gang banging. From like, I'm talking about from like 14 till about, let's say, about 20, if I'm honest, about 2021, because I was gangbanging in school, got in trouble in school, and obviously when I was about 16, went to play football, so I wasn't really in the area. But every time I come down on Saturday, I'll be with my boys, we'll be riding out, doing all sorts of rubbish, and then with that, like a lot of opportunities that I had in life, I actually wasted from being on the road. So for instance, when I was playing football, I got released the first time. Obviously, the first time they were saying that I wasn't good enough, but I believe I was good enough. Maybe I was, but I had court cases at the time as well, so I'm sure that didn't help. And then even when I came out to Croydon, I was playing for Croydon Athletic. Even then, sometimes I was supposed to be in training, and I was actually just gangbanging, and I'll be wearing my kit. Imagine doing road in your football kit.
Oh man,
So,
just giving it away.
It's crazy, you know. I'm surprised that no one actually pulled me up on that, but it was crazy. So that's the life that I was living at the time. I got in trouble a lot, you know. So I was gangbanging till about I'll say 20. Went to uni. Tried to actually be the good guy. Tried to go uni because in my house everyone went to uni apart from me. So I was like, you know, I'll try this uni thing out. Try the uni thing. Within 6 months, I got kicked out for. You know, it's not even like I was doing road, but road mentality is like thinking that okay, my friend got attacked, thinking okay, we have to retaliate. We have to. Nah, man. If we don't retaliate, they think they're gonna think we're victims or weak, stuff like that. And obviously, you live and learn, because at that time I wasn't thinking about the bigger picture. I wasn't thinking about, hold on, you paid your tuition fees, you know. You're still gonna have to pay student loan back for that whole year.
That's the thing, isn't it?
I didn't even think about all that, so I got kicked out. It's not until I came back, a few people knocked some sense into me, and then obviously I thought, you know, I need to go to uni, because I didn't want to be the only person in my house to not go to uni. So I had to go to uni. So I went to South Bank in London by myself. I didn't even go to one event in that uni. Just put my head down, and I just got my degree, and then from then on just started working, and now I'm a different person. So it's pretty cool now, but then it wasn't.
Yeah, but obviously you learned from the experience.
100%. I definitely learned the hard way. Because obviously when people my age were graduating at 21, I was still in uni. So
it's a painful look.
It is a painful look. Like, I'm graduating. And I'm just here, still in uni, struggling. But it's life now. Life is not really a race like that, so I'm happy. If it was, I'll say I caught up, so I'm good. So
that's all you need, man.
Yeah.
So how did the poetry start?
The poetry started with a poem called Why Me. I remember I was just talking about why me, why always me. As I said, it's like I feel like everything I'd done to that point in life, I'd kind of failed. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like I was a dumb child. I was smart and everything. Even in school, I got kicked out. I got kicked out in year 11, so I had to have early study leave. So it's like everything in life, I just feel like I kind of flopped. Tried to do football, and I was pretty good at football. I'm not even. I know everyone says, "Oh, I could have made it," but I feel like I could have made it. So like with that, I flopped that, and then uni, I flopped that. So like I had to do it again. So at that point in time, I was going through a stage where like, why me? Why always me? So I started back with that poem. I remember that poem. I just put it on Facebook. My friend recorded me. It was not even professional at all, because we did it at my friend's party. So we just did it in another room. My friend took out his camera and just started recording me. Put it on Facebook. At the time, I don't think Instagram was even Instagram wasn't even popping then. I don't think it was even created then. Yeah. So it was a Facebook thing. I put it on Facebook, and then everyone was like, "No, you're good. This is good." I was like, "Okay, cool." And at that time, I'd already written another poem called it was called R.I.P. That's it, R.I.P. So I'd already written R.I.P. So I put that on Facebook as well. And then even with that one, that wasn't even professional either, because every scene was cut. So it wasn't like I did an audio before. It was like literally you're recording me, and I'll do like the first 8 lines. We'll cut. We'll go to a different location. I don't know why I thought that was cool at the time. I did that, and then the feedback on that was really good. People saying, "Oh, you're speaking sense." Some people said, "Oh, you've really grown up. You've matured now. You've realized that what you were doing." So it kind of made me realize, okay, number one, I've got a talent, and number two, I need to be a serious guy now. So that's how I got into it. And then people just started booking me for unis. And it's so funny, because the uni that I got kicked out of is the same uni.
They booked you?
Yeah. They I think I was like the second or third place I did my in the first year, that was like my second or third show. So it made me think like, okay, this poetry thing's for me.
Was
like,
that an awkward return at all?
do you know, it wasn't really awkward, you know, it's kind of funny because the poem could Why Me, they could all relate because the people that were there when it happened, when I got kicked out, they were like, yeah, I remember this. I know what he's talking about. Do you know what I mean? So it was pretty cool. It was actually pretty cool.
Ah, fair enough. So like, after uni, how did you continue to pursue your poetry?
After I finished uni, if I'm honest, I wasn't as active as I am, or should I say now, because after uni, I thought like, with my struggle to just actually try and complete something, to say I'm successful in something, like I buckled down on like my final year, because in the first 2 years of uni, I was still doing shows, like I was going up to Leicester, Birmingham, doing so many shows. Like sometimes I'd have to be like, you know what, I can't even do this show. Like it's not feasible because I've got 2 shows on that day, or I've got an exam the next day. So I wasn't really gonna put my at that time, I was actually so focused in uni. I was not actually, nothing was gonna stop me because I thought I can't flop again. Nothing's gonna stop me from, because in my eyes it will be different. It will be a different reason. Okay, the first time I got kicked out, second time it was, I don't know, I failed an exam, but to my parents it would be the same thing. This guy's just a failure. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't want anything to stop me. So towards my third year, I started to stop. I actually stopped completely for like 3-4 years. I'll be writing 100%. I'll be writing. I've got stuff in my iPhone from like every month. I'd write something of how I'm feeling when I'm on a train. It was easy for me to write, but I stopped performing. But then when I left my first job, then I started performing again, and I started getting back into it, and that's how I am where I am now. So I'm just writing more, trying to do visuals for things that I've done as well. So that's where I am now.
Okay, I hear that. That's good though.
Yeah.
Do you find it to be like a good emotional outlet for what's going on?
100%. I feel like poetry, spoken word, is very good. I feel like you can be on a bus and you can describe what's going on the bus. Do you know what I mean? You can do it. The thing about poetry and spoken word, I think they're slightly different. Obviously, they both play on words, but I feel like poetry is a bit deeper. So like, if I was, for instance, not saying I'm heartbroken, but if I was heartbroken, I think I would turn more to poetry, because you can describe your feelings with a bit more like fire, or you can, talk about it. The metaphors and similes that you would put into poetry would be different, and you don't have to worry about rhyming as much. Whereas spoken word, like sometimes people say spoken word and rap, they're quite similar, aren't they? But I believe everything is different. So with spoken word, you'd wanna play on words as well, and the sounds of words. Maybe use up some alliteration, some onomatopoeia, all them things there. You'd want to do all of that, but at the same time, you'd also want to rhyme as well, because you want people to feel it. Because obviously at the same time, there is kind of like a pulse in what you're saying, because you can speak faster, you can speak slower, depending on what you're saying. So I feel like it's definitely a good outlet, because if you're angry, when you're doing your spoken word, people can tell you're angry. If you're sad, when you're speaking, people can tell you. Like, it all depends on the performer. So I definitely think it's a good outlet for everything, for anything.